What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the 4th&Long podcast. I got my boy Jace with me. Carter might join later, but we're not sure. Jace, what's going on, brother?
What's up, man?
Man, we had a new playoff rankings drop on Tuesday. This is the third one, right?
Yeah.
I think it's the third one. Ask you some questions about that. So it's one. I'm just going to give you the top 8 because there are 2 more teams that have a slight chance of making it, but I highly doubt it. 1 is Georgia, 2 Ohio State, 3 Michigan, 4 Florida State, 5 Washington, 6 Oregon, 7 Texas, 8 Alabama. Who does not control their own destiny out of those 8 teams?
I don't know. That's tough. It's like all of them do.
You think so?
I think so.
My only one, I think, would be Texas. Texas, like a 12-1 Big 12 champ. They went out. They win the Big 12 championship. I believe they still could get jumped over. I really do.
Yeah, if everybody wins out, then yeah, I think they might get jumped over.
Yeah, so let's say for instance, Georgia wins out. One of Ohio State and Michigan wins out. Florida State wins out, and then Washington and Oregon. Now that I think about it, I'm not sure. I think what they need to be more scared of is Alabama winning the SEC championship.
Yeah, I don't know how you'd be able to leave Alabama out of it if they won it.
Yes, yep. And then you got Ohio State or Michigan, Florida State, Washington or Oregon, and then it's either SEC champ Alabama or Big 12 champ Texas. But Texas has the head-to-head. But right now Alabama's playing better, obviously. But I would not hate it either way. I would kind of be annoyed if Alabama did jump Texas just because of the head-to-head. But I can see it either way.
Yeah, I think the head-to-head will matter a lot, or it should matter a lot. I don't know.
I think so too. Just the last 4 or 5 weeks for Texas have been kind of disappointing. I mean, they've only lost 1 game all season. They've won all their other close ones. But, they just haven't been playing like we know they can.
Yeah.
And Alabama is finally hitting that streak where they used to be 3 or 4 years ago where they're just blowing out teams.
Yeah, they're scary, but kind of jumping ahead, I don't think they match up very well with Georgia.
I don't think so either. Alabama versus Georgia, we'll talk about that, I guess, in just a little bit. But I don't think they do either. I really don't. Especially with Georgia's offense just on all cylinders right now.
Yeah.
Usually Stetson Bennett was a stud last year, but, man, Carson Beck he's been phenomenal this season. They have so many weapons when they need them.
I think Mike Bobo might be the best person ever at developing white people. They got Brock Bowers, Ladd McConkey, Carson Beck. Man,
Stetson Bennett.
That's already 3 times as many white people on any other roster.
He just couldn't. He couldn't develop JT Daniels.
Oh my gosh.
He is. He's at Rice right now.
Yeah, playing just as good as he did at Georgia.
All right, Jace, another question for you. If Oregon State wins out, that means they beat Washington this weekend, which they're favored in that game, which is so cool to me. And then the next week they play Oregon in a rivalry game, and then they win the Pac-12 championship in that scenario between Washington and Oregon State. Oregon State beats them again. Should they be looked at by the CFP committee? They're a 2-loss team. Their losses are Washington. Yeah, Oregon State.
I don't think so, just because the Washington State loss is so bad.
Yeah, it was so good at the beginning of the season. I was like, that is a good loss. Those are 2 good teams right there.
There's going to be a lot of teams in front of them that have a better loss.
Yep, I think so too. But man, what a season for them it would be. That'd be 11-2, Pac-12 champ, man. But obviously a lot of tough games between now and then. Let's rank the 5 games we are most excited for the last 2 weeks of the regular season, and including conference championships, if you're that confident.
You want me to go
You
first?
go ahead. Yeah, if you got them, you go ahead.
I got 1, Bama, Georgia. 2, Ohio State, Michigan. 3, Washington, Oregon. 4, Oregon, Oregon State. And 5, I mean, it doesn't seem like it's going to be a good game, but it's a rivalry game. Something always happens is Bama, Auburn.
Okay. And that's at Jordan Hare, too. So it really could. Some things could happen. What a way that would be for Hugh Freeze. He beats
Man,
Alabama his first year back in the SEC.
there's a team I thought this year he would beat that he's not supposed to. I don't think it's happened yet. So, I mean,
Yeah.
never know.
Hey, he wasn't supposed to beat Arkansas. I think we were
Not,
picking that game.
not that bad.
My five is one Alabama versus Georgia. Two would probably be Washington and Oregon, but I didn't include them just because it's not 100% yet. But I understand why you include them because it's most likely going to happen. Two for me is Michigan and Ohio State. Three is Oregon State, Washington. Four is Oregon State versus Oregon. And five, kind of a weird one, Florida State versus Florida. And that's just because it's going to be in the swamp and be a big game for Jordan Travis. Be a big game for Billy Napier.
Yeah,
He'll
that is
most
going to
likely
be a
be
good game.
needing a win. But yeah, I'm excited for that one.
Yeah, me too.
Not really any jaw-dropping news or anything, but UCLA will most likely let go of Chip Kelly after this weekend, after the USC game.
Yeah, he'll probably get an OC job somewhere.
He's always been so good at crazy offenses, except for this year. He has pretty much changed his whole outlook on the defensive end. The defense for UCLA has been great, and the offense has struggled all year long.
Imagine if he would have never left Oregon.
I know it, man. Yeah. So not really much to say about that one. I wouldn't even know candidates for a UCLA job. I think it's a pretty good job, especially coming to the Big Ten. But
Yeah, I don't
I
know.
wouldn't even know candidates.
You got your in-state big brother though. That kind of sucks.
Yes. Yeah. So more on the coaching search. Name some fun candidates for A&M. You can name two or three or more than that, but who would be the most fun and exciting candidates for A&M in your opinion?
Lane Kiffin, Mike Norvell, Dan Campbell.
Okay. Are those all the three you put on Instagram the other day?
Yeah, I think so.
I would like to see Dan Campbell back. I didn't know until recently, like you said, that he went to A&M. I did not know that. So fun candidates for me would be imagine Dabo at A&M.
Oh my god.
Imagine that. Also Dion. Dion's just kind of like a no-brainer as far as fun. The environment would be insane with Dion. The environment anywhere Dion goes, I feel like would be insane. And then Lane Kiffin for me as well. So not really a overly exciting weekend of football. If you look in the SEC, it's kind of depressing. The games in the SEC this weekend. I mean, it is horrible. We'll talk about. I guess we'll talk about three games. We'll dive deep into two games, but let's start off with some interesting games. Colorado at Washington State. Both of these programs need a win, and to make a bowl game for each of these teams, they need two wins to end the season. They're both 4-6. Colorado plays Utah the week after this one, and Washington State plays Washington the week after this one. So two tough games next weekend for both of these teams, but this weekend they need a win.
Yeah, both these teams are kind of struggling right now too.
Washington
But
State's on a 6-game win streak or a 6-game losing streak.
shoot, Colorado something like that, isn't it? Might be longer than that.
I think they start off 3-0, so they've won one of their last 7.
What was that
One
win?
of their last Arizona State.
Oh wow.
Yep. And then Arizona State beat Washington State 2 or 3 weeks ago, and Arizona State beat UCLA last week. So I understand the Chip Kelly thing when I remembered the Arizona State stuff.
I think it'll be the under the radar game. I think it'll be fun to watch.
And it's tomorrow, which is really fun.
Yeah.
It's
think-
it's at 9:30 Friday game.
I think Shadur can have some success against this team. I mean, he's been balling all year. How did he get dropped out of the Heisman conversation? They just completely stopped talking about him. It's crazy.
Yeah, when he was 3-0, man, he was my front runner probably. I really think he was.
I don't know if he's ever been my front runner, but he's been top 3.
The first 2 weeks I had him and Travis Hunter 1 and 2.
I remember listening to an LSU podcast after the Arkansas game.
Yeah.
And it's like diehard LSU fans, and they were like, Michael Penix Jr., Bo Nix, I mean, Jaden Daniels is on that tier underneath them, but he's almost there.
Oh my
Respect on his
gosh,
name, and dude, now it's like. And back then, I was like, yeah, that sounds right. Yeah.
he's almost there. Yeah, he definitely is there. He is definitely there. Those would be the tier one quarterbacks for me. I think there'd be four of them. Yeah, I think Bo Nix, Jaden Daniels, Michael Penix Jr., and Caleb Williams. Or we could put Shadur in at five as well, make it tier one with five. But I don't know. Tier one's tough.
That is tough. You'd have to look at quarterbacks that like their team would be like 3 wins without them.
I think without Shadur, Colorado would be 0-7 right now.
Yeah,
No, 0-7. They played 10 games. 0-10.
without Bo Nix, I think Oregon would still be pretty good.
I think so too. Yeah, I think so too. Big Ten game, Michigan at Maryland. Michigan has, of course, Ohio State next week, and that's the biggest game of the season for both of those teams. Could be a look-ahead spot for this team. We got the news today that Jim Harbaugh accepted his suspension, so all he's getting is 3 regular season games or 2 more regular season games suspended. But then he's good for the playoffs if they go. He's good for the Big Ten championship if they go. And I mean that's it. That's all they're doing to Michigan and Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah, I didn't know what the alternative was to not accepting it.
They would just fight it. They would fight it, and then some more evidence would come out probably against them. So they decided to. It's kind of like admitting your guilt, and
Yeah.
it's kind of like a plea deal.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep.
But I think this game is not going to be that fun to watch. I think Blake Corum has another big game, and Maryland really struggles to move the ball.
Yeah, they definitely have been. Michigan won this game 34-27 last year. It's kind of surprising, but Maryland scored late to make it a one possession game. Michigan has not lost to Maryland since 2014. Can you name? I don't know. It's going to be a tough guess. It's not Denard Robinson. But who was Michigan's quarterback in 2014? Can you think of it?
Man, I thought you were about to say anything Michigan related. I was going to say Jabril Peppers is what I was going to say.
He wasn't on that team, but he was close. This guy, Michigan's quarterback this year was Devin Gardner, if you remember him at all.
No, I don't.
I vaguely remember him. But this was bad Michigan teams. They also had Devin Funchess, if you remember him. He's a wide receiver on that team.
Yeah, I remember him.
Did he go to the NFL or anything?
I think so.
I bet he did, but I don't know. I don't remember ever hearing about him. So I have Michigan winning. I guess I should have said who I have winning the first game. I have Colorado beating Washington State. I think they'll get the win over that one. And in this game, I have Michigan beat Maryland pretty convincingly.
Yeah, me too, on both of them.
The change of scenery is because Kelsey just got home from practice, so it would be like me making her be quiet for 2 hours while we do this.
I was wondering where you were.
Yep, I'm in my guest bedroom. I brought a
cooler, huh?
Yeah, your boy is off work tomorrow. For the next, I get a week and a half, man. The 29th is when I start my new job.
Excited?
Man, I am. I just hope it works out. I've been through this before.
If y'all hear slurping on camera, it's Cameron drinking.
I got this Rockhound IPA.
Oh, you nasty.
Man, it ain't my favorite, but it's all I got right now. I got one of those variety packs of
I was about to say, why would you even buy IPA?
Of that Lost 40 Brewing Company.
That's Arkansas based, buddy.
I know. I mean, I like a lot of them, but I don't know if I've tried this one yet. They have a lemon one that I'm a big fan of. Welcome to the College Football Beer Podcast.
Yeah.
Jason had to bring some of your stouts on here one day. Man, you drink some wild shit.
I haven't drank beer in a long time.
Move on to the next game. Not really too much to talk about with this, but number 14, Oklahoma travels to BYU. BYU's in need of a win. They're 5-6, so I guess this is their last game. So BYU has to win it to make a bowl game. And BYU started off 5-1 this season, and now they are 5-6.
Wow, that's bad.
Yep.
BYU's a team, you're probably going to laugh at me again, that can hang around if you give them the opportunity to. You know all about that as a Hog fan. But BYU is a team that can stick around and give them a chance. You should know all about that.
Yeah, I should. Yeah, I should.
I think Dylan Gabriel keeps on balling like he did last week, and OU wins. I'd say
I
like
do too.
37-24.
Guess whose sorry ass was watching that game with me, Jace?
Who?
That man. We watched BYU beat Arkansas together.
I was at another friend's house watching it.
It was
He
very
was-
joyous.
He was trying to get me to change it to Colorado versus Colorado State. You remember that game?
So, dude, that was a good game.
That was
Exactly.
a good game.
Way better than BYU game.
But it was going down to the wire.
You went up 14-0 like 25 seconds into the game.
Dude, it was crazy. We were at a restaurant, and the punt return happened, and I thought we were on top of the world. I thought we were walking into Baton Rouge 3-0 and going to put the whoop ass on them Tigers. And we almost did, still.
I want to say you almost put the whoop ass on them.
So Dylan Gabriel coming off an 8-touchdown game against West Virginia. That just sounds insane.
That's crazy.
Oklahoma is still alive in the Big 12 championship hunt, actually. They are the biggest fans of Houston this week that you can imagine. Oklahoma State just has to lose one, and Oklahoma's back in there. Also, I think if Texas loses one, Oklahoma's back in there. So a lot of things to be excited for in Oklahoma. Since coming into the Big 12, BYU has only won 2 conference games this year. That's Cincinnati and Texas Tech. In their last 3 weeks in the Big 12, they've been outscored 117-26 to Texas, West Virginia, and Iowa State. And that's not even including a 44-11 loss early in September. So they've been getting drummed in the Big 12. Do y'all remember Keaton Slovis at all?
Yes.
He was at USC, transferred to Pitt. I think he did pretty good at Pitt. And now he's at BYU and not having a good season. 12 touchdowns, 6 interceptions on the year for him. I think Oklahoma rolls.
I got Oklahoma winning probably by 40.
It could be ugly, but
Yeah, it could be really ugly.
Yep. College game day is at this ball game. It's App State at James Madison. NCAA denied James Madison's request for a bowl game again this week. They, I think, put in the request on Monday, and the NCAA denied it. And that's because next year they'll be eligible, but you can't be eligible for a bowl game your first 2 years, which is so stupid. And also, the basketball team for James Madison just went into Michigan State and beat the number 4 team in the country on the road. And, apparently to the NCAA, they're not ready for D1 competition.
Yeah, I don't know a lot about these two teams. I don't watch a lot of James Madison and App State games.
Nope.
I think App State is like, third in the Sun Belt or something?
They're third in the Sun Belt, so it's number 3 versus number 1 this week. So big test for both of them.
Yeah, but what is App State's record?
6-4.
6-4.
Yep.
It's going to be 6-5 after Saturday.
How do y'all agree with the decision of game day going to this game and not Oregon State versus Washington?
They go to
Don't they pick the dumbest game to go through sometimes?
Sometimes they do.
Jay has a big problem with game day choices of games they go through sometimes.
I usually do, but I actually don't have a problem with this one.
I do like the James Madison respect and the Sun Belt respect, but man, that's a big game up there at Oregon State.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's big games every week. You got to sacrifice some of them doing this.
Yeah, they go to a smaller school every year at least once.
Yeah, I think last year they went to that game and it was a Hail Mary. They went to an Appalachian State game.
I don't even know where James Madison is located there, to be honest.
I don't either. Now that you say that, I don't know. James Madison's biggest wins. This is kind of put it in perspective with other teams that we do know of. So they beat Troy. Troy is the second best team in the Sun Belt. They also beat Virginia 36-35. Virginia beat North Carolina when North Carolina was undefeated. They also beat South Alabama by 8 and South Alabama beat Oklahoma State 33-7 in week 3 this year. That's something to keep in mind. They also beat Marshall 20-9, and Marshall beat Virginia Tech early in the season, and Virginia Tech had a shot to go to the ACC championship. So that's kind of some perspective on some context on those teams. So it is a good team. It really is. It's not like It's not like upper echelon. I mean, stuff like that obviously we know of. But their quarterback, 26 touchdowns, 7 interceptions on the season, also has 6 touchdowns rushing. And next week they do have to play Coastal Carolina, which is the second best team in the Sun Belt. So exciting things in the Sun Belt this year.
Yeah, I can't sleep.
So James Madison will probably be the Sun Belt champion and can't go to a bowl game.
Oh, and the
Yeah,
Sun Belt sucks so bad, man.
Arkansas State's in the Sun Belt.
Yeah, they terrible.
Oh, Butch Jones.
the man
Man,
cried after
it's a
week
spank.
1.
It was
Remember
spanking the
Oklahoma?
Jones
You
all the
remember,
time.
you remember Oklahoma beat the hell out of him and he started crying? Butch Jones, man, what a guy.
Didn't they put like 73 on him?
I think exactly 73. Yep.
Jeez, man. Wasn't Coastal Carolina like pretty good like maybe 2 years ago?
I think I think they were good last year, maybe 2 years ago as well.
They still
But
got Grayson McCall.
Grayson McCall, their quarterback this year is Joey. Oh no. I think they do have Grayson McCall. I'm looking at
Still
Appalachian
have
State's
Grayson McCall.
quarterback.
Yeah, still.
Yep, and he's always been good at that level. So I think James Madison will roll. I think they'll be 11-0. Let's go to the Big 12. Number 23, Oklahoma State travels to Houston. And if Oklahoma State wins out, they're in the Big 12 championship. Bowman coming off 3 interceptions last week. Ollie Gordon coming off 25 yards rushing, and them coming off a 42-point ass whooping. They need this win. And if they don't go to the Big 12 championship, I think this season, I know before the season they weren't picked to do a lot, but I mean, if they had this opportunity, needing to win 1 game or maybe 2 games, they might not even have to win the next 2 games. But if they don't go to the Big 12 championship, man, that's pretty disappointing.
Yeah, I would say so, especially what Gordon has done this season besides last week. Um, they're a really good team, so them not making at least a Big 12 championship is like a win for sure, especially after beating Oklahoma.
Yes, it's the high of beating Oklahoma that, I mean, everybody's expectations were so high after that game. We thought they figured it out, and then last week was just ridiculous. Houston needs to win both games, both of their last 2 for bowl eligibility. I'm going to be saying that a lot tonight. A lot of pretty good teams need 2 wins to make it to a bowl game. Their 2 conference wins are against Baylor, who they won by 1 point, and West Virginia on that Hail Mary, if y'all remember that. Donovan Smith, the Texas Tech transfer. He is their quarterback, and he has 20 touchdowns and 10 interceptions on the season. And they have some pretty bad losses this year to Rice, to TCU, to Texas Tech. Dana Holgerson's always been a good coach for Houston. He won 8 games last year. He went 12-2 in 2021 and beat Auburn that year. And but I mean, the goal is 6 wins this season.
Yeah, Oklahoma State's been super inconsistent.
Yeah,
But I
sure.
think with Ollie Gordon and just the talent difference, I think they're good enough to squeeze by Houston.
Yeah, I think if you would have told Oklahoma State they'd start off, I think it was 2-2, or maybe 1. I think 2-2. They lost to South Alabama, then Iowa State, and then if you told them they went 9-3 into the Big 12 championship, they'd be pretty happy.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, sure.
Going to the Big 10, one of our last games on the just interesting games, but I went down a rabbit hole in this game earlier today. Nebraska 5-5 at Wisconsin, who's also 5-5. So both of these teams need a win. It's the battle of the new Big 10 coaches, Matt Rule and Luke Fickell. And we probably thought it would be a little bit better than this, especially when both of them got to really good starts, 5-2 and 5-3. But these past 2 and 3 weeks have just been it's been ugly for both of these teams. Nebraska was 5-3. They lost to Michigan State and Maryland last week, and Wisconsin started off 5-2. And they lost to Ohio State, Indiana, and Northwestern these past 3 games, averaging 11 points a game the last 3 of those.
Yeah, these teams are like identical in every way possible.
They really do seem like it.
They same record, early head coaches trying to get going. Their uniforms look the same colors, everything.
I feel like this game can be either very interesting or very, very, very boring.
I think
Sure.
so too, man. I think so too. I think with these 2 coaches, like the most interesting thing about this whole game is the coaches to me. I don't care about any players on the field. Nothing. That's just it's all about the coaches. Let me give y'all some stats to kind of put this in perspective. And these are insane stats, and this is why I went down a rabbit hole today. The quarterback play for Nebraska has been atrocious. Heinrich Harburg is their most consistent quarterback, and he replaced Jeff Sims early in the season. And he has 7 touchdowns and 7 interceptions on the season. So at least he's been consistent, you know. So the quarterback stats for him, Jeff Sims, and their third stringer, Chuba Purdy. They have 1,273 yards passing on the season, 8 touchdowns, and 14 interceptions with all 3 of those guys. Michael Penix Jr. has 3,500 yards on the season with 28 touchdowns and 7 interceptions, to put that in perspective. So he's more than tripled their yards. Those 3 quarterbacks, and he's more than tripled their touchdowns with half the interceptions as well. So the quarterback play is atrocious. Harburg, the quarterback, is their leading rusher with 477 yards, leading rusher. That is 138th in the country, and Ollie Gordon has tripled that this year. And last stat I want to give you, their leading receiver for Nebraska is Billy Kemp with 246 yards receiving. That is 436th in the country, and USC has 6 wide receivers with 246 yards or more this season. I just wanted to give you all those.
That is crazy to put in perspective.
It's insane. It's insane. And with all those numbers, Nebraska has a small chance of making the Big Ten championship game.
I think Matt Rule needs to get fired.
Oh my God! I think he's gonna have him good unless he leaves. He could go to the A&M job. He could go to the Mississippi State job.
Arkansas job.
Oh man, I wouldn't mind it. But no, I think he'll have him good in a few years.
Yeah.
Carter, we didn't talk about it earlier, but Chip Kelly is being let go of this week, probably this week against USC. So UCLA will be on the prowl for a new coach. How do you feel about your former coach, Chip Kelly?
He ain't been worth a crap since he left Oregon. He ain't had no success since he left Oregon, and it's really crazy. I don't really see why UCLA would fire him, to be honest, because their defense has been pretty good. It's just their quarterback play, kind of like Nebraska, is just terrible.
Yep, it's been horrible.
I mean, I don't know why they would fire him. I mean, all he needs is another quarterback, but I mean, colleges do stupid stuff all the time. Hence the whole Jimbo Fisher situation, and them paying out all that money for nothing, pretty much.
Yeah, I got you. They do have that 5-star Nante Moore, but he's a true freshman, and he hasn't been too good this season. But at some point, he'll probably be pretty good. Let's go to a lower tier SEC game, but at least it's an SEC matchup and not. Carter, have you seen the SEC schedule this week? It is ugly.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of glanced at it, but it don't seem like too much of anything to watch in the SEC this week. I mean, I think the best game of the week is actually the Washington Oregon State game.
I think so too. Kentucky at South Carolina this week. It is a night game, I'm pretty sure. And we know that stadium's going to be rocking even if they're 4-6 and needing 2 wins for a bowl game. But Kentucky started off 5-0. They lost 4 of their last 5. Their biggest win is against Florida when Ray Davis had about 250 yards the first half. And they do need this win. They can't lose to South Carolina. They can't.
Yeah, they probably won't.
Rattler gonna go on.
He really might. I think I'm gonna pick South Carolina in this game. I really am.
I think a big sleeper receiver in college football is it Leggett or Legit?
Leggett. He is a beast.
He's a beast, man. Nobody really talks about him and Spencer. They have a good connection out there.
For sure. He's got 1,000 yards. I think the next best receiver for South Carolina has like 200.
Yeah, I mean, they get the tail kicked all the time, but him and Spencer Rattler, they go on every game.
For sure. And they did have Juice Wells go down in that Georgia game, and he ain't been back since. So that does hurt. But yeah, I have South Carolina winning this game.
We're talking about all the wrong things. You ever seen South Carolina play football?
Man, have you ever seen Kentucky play offense?
South Carolina has the worst offensive line in the country.
No, they don't. I mean, it's arguable, but I gotta choose Colorado.
It's
yeah,
pretty close. It's
It is pretty close.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
I just
That's
don't
what
like
makes-
Kentucky in this spot.
It's just
That's what
easy to
makes
game plan around them. They can't
Yeah.
run the ball. They don't have an O-line.
Their
They have to
defense is
throw the
really
ball.
bad.
I don't know. I'm gonna pick Kentucky in overtime.
All that talking to win it overtime.
I didn't say Kentucky was good at football. They're just slightly better than South Carolina.
Hey, Shane Beamer has been mentioned in the Mississippi State job.
Why the heck would you leave?
Interview.
No, what was it, Carter?
He pretty much named every reason why he should go to Texas A&M, and then said, "But I'm having you in South Carolina."
That man is a character.
He was like, "My best friend goes to Texas A&M. My wife's friend goes to Texas A&M. I would love to go to Texas A&M, but I have a dream job here in South Carolina."
He's from, or not from, but he did a lot of work with Mississippi State. I don't know if he was actually on the coaching staff or not. I'm gonna look that up, but
He tended to be off the South Carolina coaching staff.
shoot, he might be, man. They go 4-8 or so. Man. But I don't think I think he'll get next year. But there's a big chance they lose to Kentucky and Clemson. There really is. Oh, that's my bad. Did y'all hear that?
Nope.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, he was assistant coach at Mississippi State.
Yep, I'm looking at that right now. And then his wife is also from Starkville. That's where he met her.
Oh yeah, he's taking that job.
I said Texas A&M, but I meant Mississippi State.
Oh, I got you.
That was all bad.
No, you're all good. But South Carolina is on a momentum streak right now. Obviously, they barely won the Jacksonville State game, but they put up 47 on Vandy. They need to win these final two to make a bowl game. I don't think they'll win versus Clemson, but I do have them winning this game against Kentucky.
You know, them winning by 50 over Vandy really changed my outlook on this program.
That's what I was thinking. They're really high on Beamer and Rattler after that one. They'll probably get Rattler another year for that one.
That's a good win.
Yeah. May extend Beamer.
Hey, Lenora Sellers came in last week against Vandy. It looked awesome.
That man's ball.
He's going to be good next year. He's like Nico at Tennessee. Everybody's backup quarterback's so good.
Yeah. That's
how it always goes.
We need to talk about how the NCAA lets Bo Nix play college for 13 years. But won't let James Madison play a bowl game.
How stupid is that?
With Bo Nix, man. That's all experience.
He's 37.
Oh, my God.
He's going to go to the league and be very good.
He's going to go to the league and be older than everybody.
College basketball is worse.
Bo Nix may go to the Saints.
I'd take him.
Yes, you would. Better.
He ain't Derek Carr, but he'd get a job.
He ain't Derek Carr. I'd take him over Dak. They said Dak's the best quarterback in the league. I need to be thankful for him.
I don't know who they are, but they high as a kite.
High as hell. Illinois is at number 16 Iowa this week. Iowa is pretty much locked into the championship game, unfortunately. But John Paddock for Illinois, he's a guy that came in and threw 507 yards and 4 touchdowns last week. He could shake that shit up real quick.
Yeah, he's good. He's a game changer.
He is a game changer. I got Illinois, 48-13.
Yeah, Lee, are you serious?
No,
goes wild.
but he does. I have Paddock throwing for 197 and 3 touchdowns against this Iowa defense. Because if Iowa's good at one thing, they're good at some damn defense. But I do have Illinois winning this game 20-12.
I'm going to say Iowa wins 13-7.
Jeez.
That's probably more on par.
I'll go Iowa 24-7.
Okay. Man, that's a high. That is a high. All right, let's get into some previews and predictions for the best games of the weekend. Number 10, Louisville travels to Miami. It's 11 a.m. kickoff. Miami is picked by 1 point in this game. There's a lot of like underdogs record wise that are picked to win this weekend. I really like how they do that. If Louisville wins this game, they are in the ACC championship. If Louisville wins out, including a win next week against Kentucky and Florida State in the ACC championship, there's a very small but hopeful chance they could be into the college football playoff. That Pitt loss just holds them back enormously.
Yeah, for sure. I really think Louisville could beat Florida State, even though that's a way away. I think they could.
You're just not high on Florida State at all.
I'm not at all. The best, all I have is Keon Coleman. Last name.
Keon Coleman, yep.
I'm just not really big on Jordan Travis. He's kind of overrated.
I got you. He's like a fifth-year senior, I want to say.
Yeah.
One thing about Florida State seems like they're in a dogfight every single game. Like they never blow anybody out unless it's like late fourth quarter.
Yeah. I mean, because Clemson should have beat them, to be honest.
Yeah.
Poor play calling by Clemson is why they lost, to be honest.
Yes, you are correct, Carter. Florida State should have lost to Clemson. A defensive touchdown changed that whole game. The start of it, or I think the late third quarter changed that whole game. Clemson was driving on them, about to go up 2 possessions, and they got a scoop and score touchdown. Get this, guys. So Jordan Travis is a redshirt senior. He was born in 2000, so he's 23 years old. He transferred from Louisville to Florida State November 2018.
Wow.
Jesus.
How does that even so he got the red shirt his freshman season in 2018 and then the COVID year. So this is 6th year as a college football player.
So Jay Shooter's going to rank by him for Bo Nix.
That is insane.
There's a couple of them. KJ Jefferson. I mean, Jaden Daniels, but he's going to win a Heisman, so it don't matter.
I don't even want to talk about Jaden Daniels because I saw some highlights of him going crazy on my Ducks his freshman season.
I remember his freshman season, him beating your Ducks and throwing for 400 yards.
I mean, that man. We could have went to the college football playoff over that.
That man.
I got to go watch that game. I don't remember it.
Oh, dude, he went crazy. It was him in 707 pretty much.
Oh, my gosh. I remember at Virginia Tech, I always liked him. I always thought Arizona State. Yeah. What did I say?
Virginia Tech.
Virginia, what the heck?
Why am I thinking Virginia Tech?
Is that not crazy, though? Like, imagine how many other hidden gems are out there like that. Like, they just have to go to a school that uses their talent.
Right, man.
If he stayed at Arizona State, they don't even know who he is. He wouldn't get drafted, nothing like that.
We talked about him. Yeah.
LSU has the nose for it. They get Joe Burrow. They get Jaden. Who's going to get next race?
Nussmeier.
No, for real, I'll say it now, bold take. Arch Manning will be the next LSU quarterback.
You know, I like that.
You know, he's from New Orleans.
Louisiana.
Is he really? I didn't know that.
All the Mannings from Louisiana, and LSU ain't got a single one of them.
One of them.
Nope. I think, didn't their dad, like Peyton Manning's dad, play quarterback for the Saints?
Yeah. Archie.
Yeah, Archie Manning.
But yeah, Quinn Ewers is coming back next year.
Really?
Yeah.
Was that reported?
It's like expected or whatever. I saw like on 3 reported it. It was like breaking news that Quinn Ewers is expected to return.
Wow, that's huge.
Yeah.
Barry Pittman was like, KJ was going to, with Don't Worry, he was going to go to the draft season, but I don't know what he's going to do.
I think he comes back. I really think he comes back.
He ain't really drafted.
I mean, no, it's either come back or transfer.
I think he comes back to college football, but he don't play for Arkansas.
I mean, Auburn won it last week, you know. Auburn won the KJ Bowl last week.
Yeah. I think he's probably trying to go play for Mississippi State to get back.
That's a good point, but I don't think Mississippi State. I mean, Arkansas is a better resource than Mississippi State, even though, I mean, it just hasn't looked like it. Let's change the subject. Yeah. I'm getting a little pissed off over here. Would an 8-4 record make Miami fans happy in Mario Cristobal's second year? If there's any Miami fans, you see some shots of that stadium sometimes, and there ain't 30 people there.
I mean, it's made them happy every other year. I don't see why this year would be any different.
Do what?
It's made them happy every other year. I don't see why this year would be any different.
Shit, they didn't even get there last year.
Most
Miami's
mediocre
program
team
would
ever.
Miami's program would be better if they gave Tate Martell a good chance.
Oh my
Oh my
goodness!
God.
Not Tate Martell.
They waste that man's time. He was not.
But on Louisville's side, defense is everything for them. They're top 15 in yards allowed, top 10 in rushing defense, and third in the country in red zone defense. But on the other side, Miami is coming off 2 losses in a row, NC State and Florida State, where they put up 6 points on NC State, then held it close against Florida State for a majority of the ball game. Tyler Van Dyke will have to play in this game. Emory Williams, the kid that played last year, I think he's a freshman. And stats-wise, he didn't have a great game, but on the field, you could tell he had some flash in him. He's most likely out for the year because of an injury in that Florida State game last week. Van Dyke, 16 touchdowns, 12 interceptions on the year.
Yeah, I don't see them. I don't see them moving the ball very well against Louisville.
Not at all.
If you would have told me after that A&M game that he's going to finish with around 20 touchdowns and 15 interceptions, that would have shocked me.
Yeah, he balled out against A&M.
That's just insane. Miami does have 2 stud wide receivers, Jacoby George, 707 yards, 7 touchdowns. Xavier Restrepo, 683 yards, 4 touchdowns. Miami won this game 47-34 last year, but Jeff Brom wasn't at Louisville yet, his alma mater, and Brom himself has been mentioned in the A&M job, but there's so many people mentioned for that job.
Yeah, they'll hire somebody that you're probably not even thinking about.
Yeah.
That's what I've heard all week. Yep.
All your big universities like that, they always hire somebody off the wall like that.
And you know, Johnny Manziel, he said he's done business.
Yeah, that's my boy, man.
Oh yeah, y'all go way back, huh?
Way back to 2012 when he beat us 58-10. I'll never forget it.
You know, he never beat LSU. You know how big of an LSU fan I am? I went to sleep last night watching 2010 LSU versus Bama.
2010. Did y'all won that year?
We won. That's just, so 2010, 2011 is how Jordan Jefferson got screwed out of them saying no one ever beat him back to back, because he definitely beat him back to back.
Yes, he just didn't start. That was the whole
stupid.
That was stupid of a stat. In this game, I have Miami pulling the upset. I have them beating Louisville 26-23. I'm just not very high on Louisville. They've skated by a couple teams. They lost to a very bad Pittsburgh team who we just talked about. Then last week, they barely beat a really bad Virginia team.
Speaking of skates, this is way off topic. Did y'all see that hockey player that freaking drop kicked that dude in the neck?
Yes. Killed him.
Oh, crap.
Killed him.
Isn't he going to jail for that?
Yeah, he's going to
manslaughter.
That's wild.
How crazy is that, dude?
Why would you do
Hockey's
that?
scary as hell.
Like, I mean, you're right, Dave. Why would you drop kick a man? No, you got a blade.
Right in the neck. It looked like freaking AB kicking that punter.
Yeah. I didn't watch the video at all because man, that shit would scar me.
It's not graphic. You can't
It's
even tell nothing. No, it's like they're skating by each other. He lifts his leg up and like side kicks the dude in the neck while they're both standing straight up.
Boy, that's terrible.
Stupid. But Cam, back to your take on Louisville. Well, Miami beat Louisville.
Yep.
Van Dyke's gonna make sure that he's terrible.
Okay, I wouldn't be surprised.
I don't think they're gonna win that game.
I got you. What's your prediction of this one, Carter?
Louisville 34-12.
Damn. I'm gonna say
27-21. All right, let's go to the Pac-12. A 1:30 ball game. Number 22 Utah travels to number 17 Arizona. Arizona's picked by 1. 4 straight wins for the Wildcats. 3 of them over top 20 competition, especially if you want to count the Washington State game where they won 44-6. But Washington State has looked horrible since then. Noah Fafita, 16 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, 74% completion percentage. Jonah Coleman, their running back, is coming off an 179-yard game against Colorado, where he only rushed the ball 12 times. McMillan has been Fafita's best target, 860 yards, 8 touchdowns. Jacob Cowing also has 534 yards and 10 touchdowns. This Arizona offense has been unstoppable since the quarterback change.
You know what? This actually might be the game of the week to me.
I mean, it's up there. It is. The Pac-12 is awesome this week.
Yeah. This actually might be the game of the week because I don't really know who wins the game.
I know it, man. That Utah defense, and it's tough to pick.
The only reason Arizona is a 1-point favorite is just because it's at home.
That's it. It's tough to pick.
I'm gonna say my college football mindset picks Utah, and they knock Arizona off that high horse. But we're Arizona fans on this podcast, so I'm picking Arizona.
That's the consensus number one team. Obviously, I'm an Arkansas fan, you're an LSU fan, Carter's an Oregon fan, but the consensus, we are Arizona fans on this podcast.
Right.
For sure.
What did you pick, Jace?
Arizona, I'm going to say 31-30.
Okay. I have Arizona 31-23 in this ball game.
I'm going to go Utah 27-21.
Okay. Utah's coming off a pretty tough loss to Washington where they controlled the first half of that ball game. But then they couldn't do anything on offense, and I mean Washington let them stay in the game, and they still couldn't do much to try to tie it and try to go into overtime. If they do lose to Arizona this weekend, it would be the first time Kyle Dillingham did not win at least 9 games in the regular season since 2017. Man, he is an under-the-radar coach. That guy has been special for Utah. He has been special for them.
I mean, he's been my book for you.
Man, it's like he always gets a surprise win. Now, you can say this year his surprise win is USC, but USC hasn't been great. But still, that's a tough win. And we just have to remember, they don't have their starting quarterback, which is crazy.
But Bryson Barnes, man, I'm really a big fan of him. He's really
Are you?
good.
Okay.
A lot of people don't think he's that good, but he's a quarterback.
His stats on the season are 1,200 yards, but that's because they've kind of been doing a 2-quarterback system ever since the Florida game. 10 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Their their leading receiver is Devon Vale with 482 yards, and that's not much, but he's coming off an 145-yard game last week against Washington.
It's really hard for anybody to get into a rhythm when you're a quarterback.
It is.
Bryson Barnes doing what he's doing, even through all. I mean, that's really good.
I remember that Florida game, the first game of the year, and Florida I think went 3 and out maybe and punted it to Utah. Utah's first play was a bomb for a touchdown. Bryson Barnes threw like an 80-yard touchdown pass. It was damn, what a second stringer.
Yeah. For the ball, man.
Yep. So me and Jace have Arizona for this game. Carter has Utah. Let's go on to the SEC. I'd say this is the SEC game of the. Oh, go ahead.
Got something to say about this game.
Okay, this is the SEC game of the week. You picked the upset last week. You can't pick it again.
Hey, I feel it. Tennessee's so inconsistent, and they were so inconsistent that they got their tails whooped last week. Joe Milton, he's coming to Joe Momentum right now.
Joe Momentum
is coming. Number 18 ranked Vols is gonna put the whoop tail on them dogs.
Man. What was I about to say? Damn, what was I about to say for real? Go ahead, Jay.
Joe Minham is going to lose by 30.
They're coming off a 31-point loss.
Hey, that's how inconsistent they are.
You're right.
They lose one week, win the next.
I can't disagree with you.
He's coming. He's coming. I'm telling you.
Joe Milton's going to be set on the bench by the start of the second half.
Nico's playing.
It don't matter what quarterback's playing. I feel like Tennessee's getting this way.
If Nico, Jace, this is what I was going to say. This is Tennessee's Super Bowl right here.
I don't give a fuck.
But, like, what else is Kirby going to use as a chip this week? Because they're finally ranked number 1 in the AP poll. They're coming off 3 big games where they just dominated 2 of them and overpowered a good Missouri team. Brock Bowers is healthy. They're coming off their best win all season, in my opinion. And, man, this team's just firing on all cylinders this week.
Yeah, I don't see Tennessee doing anything.
I really don't either. I know that Tennessee atmosphere is going to be rocking, even though they lost by 30 last week. But still, that place is going to be awesome. If Nico plays a majority of the game, Tennessee's winning this ball game.
I'm telling you, Peyton Manning, Warren Wallen, all the stars are going to be for them Tennessee Vols. Beat them dogs. That's what I tell you.
Oh, man. Dude, I keep forgetting what I'm going to say. Good gosh. Terrible host. Last season, this game, if y'all remember, was number 1 versus number 3. And most people picked Tennessee to win this game. And they came out and Georgia just dominated. 27-13. It was 27-6 early in the 4th. Hendon Hooker couldn't do a thing. Jalen Hyatt couldn't do a thing. It was ugly. And I was so excited for that ball game, and it just didn't happen. But I do have Georgia winning this game 37-26, and I don't think it's going to be close in the second half.
I think 37-26 is too close overall.
Yeah, that's super close.
No. I'm gonna say Florida 56, Tennessee
Florida.
20.
Florida?
Georgia, I'm sorry.
Florida 56-20. 56-20?
Yeah, Georgia 56-20.
Gosh almighty. That's an ass whooping.
I'm going Tennessee 21, Georgia 14.
Oh my gosh, he picked it.
21-14.
Ooh, Carter.
We got to start holding you accountable to these picks.
We do have to start making some bets. I want to start doing like things like when our locks of the week are wrong, we have to do something. This SEC podcast I watch, they do like clown makeup, some food challenges, something. Just like if their locks are wrong.
Yeah.
And so far I'm 1-1, so
Same.
I would have to do something.
Hey, I'm gonna get this up there right this week.
Okay. My lock of the week's weird this year, but we'll get there. We'll get there later.
This year.
I mean this week. Good gosh.
Damn, we all fucked up.
I know it. It's the beer for me. I think it's the beer for me.
Is it the beer for you?
I think it's the beer for me, Jace. Yeah.
Is it?
I think so. I still cannot believe that Brock Bowers is playing in this ball game.
He got those balls this week.
I know it, man. Lad McConkey went down, but I think he is good to go this week. I haven't heard anything saying he's not when I looked it up or anything. So
who has a kid that says we need to name this dude Lad McConkey?
Well, I bet they can't really help their last name, Jace, but Lad.
Exactly.
I mean, that's
Lad McConkey's rough as he is. Give him a cool name, not Lad.
Yeah. What would be a cool name? Martavius McConkey?
Yeah.
Martavius.
Better than Lad. Or like
better than Lad.
I don't know, Tyrone or something.
Tyrone McConkey. Let's get to the ACC game. Number 20, North Carolina, 8-2. At Clemson, 6-4. And Clemson's picked to win by 7.
Everybody in the stop.
Yeah. Clemson is rolling at the right time.
Yep. Buy stock in it.
Buy stock.
A couple weeks ago, this looked like the biggest game of the past 5 years for North Carolina because their schedule was pretty lackluster. They were sitting at, I want to say 7-0, maybe 6-0. Then they lost to Virginia and Georgia Tech back-to-back weeks, knocked them out of playoff contention and pretty much knocked them out of the ACC contention. And now I believe this game means more for Clemson even than it does to North Carolina.
Sure. Just
for pride, yes. I mean, Clemson's hot, man. They're coming off 2 straight games against Notre Dame where they held control of Notre Dame for the most part. And then Georgia Tech, where they just blew out Georgia Tech. They probably had their best offensive day against Georgia Tech last week. Cade Klubnik threw for 4 touchdowns. He's got 18 touchdowns, 7 interceptions on the season. Phil Maffa and Will Shipley have been one of the two best combo running backs on a team this whole season. They have over 1,300 yards and 12 touchdowns combined. Now, wouldn't it be crazy if next year, we talked about it earlier, but Dabo is in A&M, Carter?
Both win. Going to A&M.
Going to
Which is no
A&M.
better than Jimbo Fisher in his tenure at A&M.
Whoa, what a bold statement.
Yeah, I mean, he got to get into the NIL. And until he does, he will have subpar seasons.
Now, I got to agree with you. All right, Jace, before you get off here, if money, time, or place was not an issue, where would you be at this Saturday?
Knoxville. It's going to be rocking.
Okay. Carter, what about you?
Definitely Knoxville because I'm Boston, dude.
Yep, you are picking the upset. They're gonna rip the field goal post down this year.
Oh yeah, for sure. Big black
Man,
dog, orange light glowing, Morgan Wallow singing.
dude, I'm
It's,
mad.
it's gonna be rocking.
Y'all are missing the game of the week. It's gonna be in Corvallis, Oregon, where Oregon State is gonna take down Washington, and it's gonna be a beautiful scene in
I would love to
Corvallis.
see that.
Oh,
Would
what
love to see
team?
that.
What team are y'all most excited to watch?
Well, that's a good question.
Let them go.
Okay, you high on them. I don't know why you high on them, but you're high on them.
I'm telling you, it's an inconsistency.
Okay.
My most excited to watch? Probably Oregon State.
Okay. It's
Yeah.
I could have picked Oregon State for every one of these questions. I really could have. For me, it's Arizona. I'm wanting to see Noah Fafita and that offense against the Utah defense, and I'm pretty excited about that one. What player are y'all most excited to watch?
Luther Burden.
Luther Bird against Florida.
Yep.
I got you.
SEC game. He's had a slow last couple games, so
Yeah, and he can get off some yards against that Florida secondary for sure.
Schrader had his game last week. It's Burden's time this week.
Okay,
For sure.
who you got,
I would
Carter?
I have to go with DJ at Oregon State because he had a rough season last season, and this is probably bigger than his career. I feel like.
Yep.
So if he ends up coming out this win against Washington, that's going to heavily improve his
You stole mine. Yep, you stole mine, brother. You stole mine. I will go same team. I'll go Damian Martinez, that running back for Oregon State. He has been phenomenal this season. So super excited to watch him, especially against a really bad Washington, not really bad, but a bad Washington defense. What team has the most to prove this weekend?
I'm gonna say Oregon State again.
Okay.
I have to agree with Oregon State because they win this game, it shows they're actually for real.
Man, yes it does.
So if they end up being Washington, that's going to be a pretty big deal, especially for a committee on rankings and everything.
For sure. Since I said I could say Oregon State for every question, I'm going to go different than y'all. I'm going to go North Carolina. I think if North Carolina beats Clemson, it's going to look like they're not like every other year North Carolina where they start off undefeated and just fall out at the end. I still think this is a good North Carolina team, and so I think they have a lot to prove this weekend. Jace, before you go, who have been some of your favorite players to watch this season?
So, like, my favorite, not who I think's the best.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. Just to watch. Yep.
All right. Call me Homer, whatever. Jaden Daniels is number one.
God almighty.
Yeah, right. Who would like to watch that guy play football? Stupid. Number two, Malik Neighbors.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, like those aren't the two best position players.
Shit.
Anyways, it gets
Oh,
better. It gets better. It gets better. Ollie Gordon's number 3.
4, Brian Thomas.
No.
5, Harold Perkins.
All right, you're
6,
gonna
6, Mason Smith. 7,
shut
7, Brian
up.
Kelly.
Shut up, Thrash. Let me finish my list. 3, Ollie Gordon. 4
Let's put it.
is Jalen Milrow. And 5 is Michael Penix.
Okay. I don't disagree with it. Carter, give me some of yours.
Number
Oh,
one,
sorry, guys.
Shador Sanders.
Okay.
2, Jaden Daniels. 3, Jalen Milrow. 4, Malik Neighbors. And
Okay.
Let me just say, how was that a homer pick that I put those two in mine, and Carter had them in his top 5 too?
It's just funny you started off with those two.
They're the best players to watch for me.
Exactly.
Question. Don't ask me stupid
Of course,
questions.
of course they are,
Oh
Jace.
my gosh.
Exactly.
All right.
It's
I'll tell you
obvious.
some of mine. Number 1, Jaden Daniels. number 2, Noah Fafita. 3, Michael Penix. 4, Malik Neighbors. And 5, Ollie Gordon.
No KJ Jefferson.
Hell no. As
No
bad as I
Robert
hate to say
Sanders.
it. No, as bad as I hate to say it. Now, if you want to
No,
say
no,
last
no
week who was
Cam
my
Little.
favorite player, Cam Little. Cam Little's the star of that Razorback football team. All right, Jace, go ahead and get off here, man. I know you had a long day.
All right, I'll see y'all.
Okay, buddy.
Go Tigers.
Damn. Oh, man, you don't know how to use that mic, Carter.
Well, I just threw it on the floor.
I know it's late, man. Do you have some time?
Yeah.
Okay, you just tell me when it gets too late because I'm obviously off work, so man, I got all the time in the world. So I'll start off with some questions I asked Jace to begin the podcast. The playoff scenarios. You know the first 8 teams, and I've already told them to the audience and stuff. Out of those 8 teams, who does not control their own destiny
As of right now,
as of right now? Yep. If they win out, who still has the most to worry about out of those top 8 teams?
Bama.
You think so? Okay, that's not a bad one.
Well, no, the other thing about Texas.
Texas.
Because the thing about it is, if Bama wins out, that means they beat Georgia.
Yes.
So, in a sense, they do control their destiny. And if Oregon wins out, that means they beat Washington.
Yep.
So,
And
well, actually, I would have to say for Texas or uh, FSU.
okay. That's where I disagree with you. I think Florida State's undefeated. They get in. If they win out, I think they get in no matter what scenario comes up. I really do. I worry the most
Yeah,
about Texas.
yeah. Texas, because it's the one loss, but then the Big 12 championship is more than likely it should be Oklahoma State. So even if they beat Oklahoma State, it's kind of like they beat
Yes,
Oklahoma State. Okay, cool.
exactly. I think Texas has the most to worry about, especially if Alabama beats Georgia. I think if
If,
Alabama,
if
yep,
Alabama beats Georgia, they're getting into that 4th spot.
yes, they are. If Alabama goes on or wins out, beats Georgia, the SEC champion is getting into the college football playoff. If it's
Oh,
Georgia or Alabama, for sure.
most of it. Because I still think even if Georgia loses, they still go with the number 1 spot.
Really, you think so?
Yeah, because I mean, how I'm looking at it, if Georgia loses to Alabama is still better than Ohio State and Michigan and FSU.
Yeah, but the committee doesn't think, or they can't think that because of Alabama's one loss. They can't do it.
Yeah, I mean they can't think that, but if we're talking pure football, we America knows.
I got you. So right now, I think Georgia will go. Obviously, we'll have an undefeated Ohio State or Michigan because they're not losing in that Big Ten championship game, no matter who it is. Florida State, I think, wins out because it's weaker. I know they have a tough test against Florida next week, and then most likely Louisville, and then it's that Washington Oregon game, man. And I think whoever wins
That's
that is getting in
no,
there.
that's gonna be a heck of a game because
Even
honestly, that Washington Oregon game, that game is really saying, okay, whoever wins this game is going to the College Football Playoff. Whoever loses this game is going to
yes,
the College
yes,
Football Playoff. Like it's playoffs or some bowl game and nobody cares
yep.
because they want to go to the playoffs.
And I think
Then
even if Oregon wins that game, they will get over a Big 12 and 1 champ Texas. I think a 12-1 Pac-12 champ will get over Texas.
yeah, because the strength of schedule in the Pac-12 is way harder than the Big 12 for sure.
Yep.
And Oregon, I mean, this is last year in the Pac-12. I mean, what would be it'd be no better way than to finish it off with Oregon winning the Pac-12.
Man, for sure, for sure. And you know who could mess up all of that? Oregon State. Oregon
Oregon,
State. They
Oregon,
have Washington this week. We've already talked about it. If they beat Washington, this is a tall task. If they beat Washington, next week they beat Oregon. They are most likely in the Pac-12 championship against Washington. If they beat Washington again,
they're talking about playoffs.
man, I asked Jace that, and that was my question. Should the committee be looking at Oregon State a lot more carefully after that happens?
Absolutely. If they beat Oregon and
Yep,
Washington,
top 6 team, top 5 team, and then top 5 team again.
and then go back to the Pac-12 championship, I mean Washington again. They're going to they belong in softball playoffs.
I think they would belong, but I don't think they would make it because of those two losses.
They have 2 losses.
They have 2 losses. Yes, they have
Oh,
Washington.
no, yeah.
Washington State beat them in early September or late September, and then they lost to Arizona 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, the committee's not going to put 2 losses in.
I don't think so either. I think that's what hurts them, and I hate that because, like, imagine this 12-team playoff this year, man.
See, and that's why I think the format should have been more than this. The things they have from the very beginning.
Okay,
It would be more entertaining. And then there's the top 5 teams that make it
that make what?
the playoffs.
This was top 4, and then
Top
next
4.
year it'll move to top 12.
See, it should have been top 12 all.
The BCS, the 2 teams was stupid, and then the 4 is, man, just why not go from 2 to 8 instead of 2 to 4? But we get 12 next year.
Yeah. 8 would have been better, but I mean, I guess I might not be too great. 12.
Exactly. Man, I can't wait for that. I really can't wait for that. So
It's gonna be a while.
dude, it is because that gives Arkansas a chance because we weren't making it in the top 4 ever, but top 12 we could finish top 12 sometime. Be once every 20 years, but we could do it every.
We will be 60 years old.
Come on, man. Don't say that. Don't say that.
Our kids will be playing in college in Arkansas, something like that. Before that happens,
Don't say that, Carter.
It's going to take a little part of building junior to get in there to get Arkansas.
Hell no. 2010, 2011, we're in there, Carter. We're in there.
Yeah, that's decades ago.
Gosh. I think we can do it. Let's get to some preview games. Let's get back into that North Carolina Clemson game. Drake May, I know the hype around him is much more than he's actually done, but he's had a really good season. 3,145 yards, 21 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. And while he's doing all that, they had the number 1 leading rusher in the country in Omarion Hampton. He's got 1,236 yards and 13 touchdowns.
Yeah, I mean, UNC, they're really, really good, but I don't think Drake made it really good.
I got you.
If that makes any sense. Drake May, I feel like he's that quarterback that got a far hand to him, and he has no idea what to do to it. He's not right. He's just there. Is what it looks like.
Okay, man. UNC is coming off a 47-45 win against Duke last week. I mean, this team was down 3 with 40 seconds left and came back, forced overtime, won it. They could very well be sitting at 7-3 right now. In this game, this could be another season where they just lose it all at the end. But I think they get back. I think they should get back on track, and I think this is a huge game for them. But I think Clemson is going to do it. I think Clemson wins 34-27, and I believe it's going to be close the whole game.
I think it would be.
Man, I thought beginning of the season this game would mean so much more. I would have no idea that one of these teams would be 6-4, and especially that team be Clemson.
When you think about Clemson, you just always feel like they're going to be within the top 20 at least.
Yep.
Like on a down year, top 20.
On a down year, yep.
Not 6-4.
It's crazy. It is really crazy. But man, maybe the athletes are bought in. The team's bought in after these 2 wins in a row, and maybe they can keep it going. I do have
The
Clemson
the
winning this game.
biggest the biggest thing is they need to get a quarterback and actually stick with one quarterback and not full quarterback for having one bad game. That's the
I got you.
problem with Dabo. He did the same thing with Trevor Lawrence and what was the other guy that was there with Trevor Lawrence?
With Trevor Lawrence, I'm not positive.
I
I
forgot
remember
his name.
Kelly Bryant, the black guy.
Yeah, yeah. It was
Remember
Kelly
Kelly
Bryant
Bryant?
actually.
Yep,
Yeah, well, see, that worked for Dabo. Trevor Lawrence is actually better than Kelly.
yes,
But the thing of it is, he tried to do the same thing with Kenny Klubnik and DJ, and it didn't work in his favor. So
you're
I
right.
think he needs to either he continue to groom Kenny Klubnik because I don't think he's going to end the draft this season. He needs to stick with him, or he needs to find him a good quarterback and just let him do his thing and try to lead the team instead of anytime a mess up happens at the game, you're pulling him because he, I think he pulled DJ last season when they were undefeated.
I believe so. I believe so because yeah, he in that Syracuse game that changed
Yeah,
everything. Yep,
yeah, they were undefeated. Yeah,
he
and
put
DJ was
Klubnik in.
starting every game.
Yep, you're right.
I mean, just because a quarterback's not performing to the standards you think he should, if the team's 5-0, 6-0, undefeated, whatever it may be, you got to pull a quarterback because that's meant for the whole flow of offense.
I
The
got you.
whole team, really.
Yep, I agree with you. That team went on to lose to Notre Dame, then South Carolina when South Carolina got Michigan signs, and then Tennessee.
Yeah.
Tennessee beat them in the bowl game. That's when I thought Joe Milton was ridiculous. He was launching it, man, but it hasn't happened for Joe Milton this year, really.
Mhm. Just wait for this Georgia game.
Wait till this weekend. Wait till this weekend. I got
Oh
you. Battle of the Kansas teams. Number 21 Kansas State plays number 25 Kansas. 6 o'clock game. Both these teams are 7-3. Looking for. I skipped a Pac-12 game. We'll go back and preview it. Kansas State is picked by 7.5. Kansas coming off an ugly loss where they were down 13-0 going into the fourth quarter against a bad Texas Tech game. Jason Bean does look ready to go, though. He was hurt that first quarter of that game. Get this, Carter. Kansas is seeking their first 8+ win regular season since 2008. If they win, and if they win out, which means they're 9-3, it'll be their first 9-win season since they were number 2 in the AP poll in 2007 and went 12-1 in the craziest college football year ever.
so much for big time basketball school. Huh?
Big time basketball school. That's 16 years ago, man. 16 years of them not having a 9-win season.
That's crazy.
Lance Leipold is that team clicking, man.
I mean, Jill, you honestly, you don't, when you're a 5-star, 4-star recruit, you don't say, okay, I'm going to play football.
I mean, yeah, that you're right. You're right. Jalen Daniels, that quarterback who played, he played. I want to say 5 games. He's had a lot of injury problems. Jalen
Yeah.
Daniels, he played 5 games last year before getting hurt in that TCU game, and Jason Bean came in last year. So he's had some injury problems. Jason Bean's played most of the season this year. He will most likely be back next year. So Kansas will probably be good again next year. Devin
Yeah.
Neal has been one of the best running backs in the country for Kansas, 965 yards, 10 touchdowns. And what Leipold has done to this program is just awesome. It really is. He's also been mentioned in the A&M job.
I think everybody in the country is mentioning A&M job. I might be
You are
mentioning the
correct.
A&M job.
We might be mentioned it. You are correct, man. On the other side, Kansas State coming off a huge game against Baylor, 59-25. Will Howard's having a good season. DJ Giddens is having a really good season for them on the ground. And Chris Kleiman, their head football coach, seeking 8+ wins in 4 straight seasons, not counting the COVID year.
Kansas State, they've always been pretty decent in football.
They really have, man. They really have.
Like, between the two schools, they've been fairly decent. Like, not, top 20, top 10 top 15 type
Yeah.
program, but they're not a team that you go up against and think it's going to be easy to win.
For sure. Kansas State won this game 47-27 last year. I have Kansas State winning 30-21 against Kansas this year.
I'll go Kansas State. Um, Kansas State 40-24.
Okay. So you think Kansas State's going to be in control of it? I got you. That Texas game with Kansas State, that could have been so much for Kansas State. If they would have pulled that game out, they'd be 8-2. They would have one loss in conference play, and that would be Oklahoma State, and they would be in prime position for the Big 12 championship game. But they couldn't pull it out in overtime.
If Sarkis and his guy would be in jeopardy, right?
Yeah. You're probably right. That fourth down play, that Chris Kleiman made Kansas State do when it was in overtime. They could have kicked a field goal to tie it and go to another overtime, but they went for it. I know he has to regret that so much.
I think for sure.
Yep. Let's circle back to that Pac-12 game I missed. 2:30 kickoff, UCLA at USC. USC's picked by 6 points. Both of these teams are needing a win here. UCLA is coming off a really bad loss to Arizona State. They then lost to Arizona 27-10 the week before, so this team can't do shit against Arizona teams. A lot going on with the university as far as Chip Kelly. Chip Kelly's, like we mentioned before, is most likely gone after this ball game. They have struggled on offense most of the year. Defense has been very good. They have a really good running back room with Carson Steele and T.J. Harden combining for 1,300 yards and 11 touchdowns. But they have not named a starting quarterback for Saturday.
I don't even think it even matters who starts for UCLA. They both suck.
They're really not too good. Nope.
But to work in their favor, USC defense sucks.
Absolutely. That's the thing.
I really think this game may be a shootout, believe it or not, because I think that any quarterback can step in on the field with the USC defense and put up some numbers.
I think go ahead.
I think I'm gonna go UCLA. I think USC.
Okay, that is a shootout. That's close to my score, but not in the same not exactly close. So I think this is the best game to put Dante Moore in, unless he's hurt. I think he does have some injury problems so far this year, but he's their 5-star. He's their future of that program, especially when they move to the Big Ten next year. And against that USC defense, man, it's better than practice. It's better than going against a scout team,
Yeah.
And USC is coming off 2 straight losses against very good teams. I might have to add, but they got dominated last week against your Oregon Ducks, 36-14 in the fourth quarter, until they made it close on the scoreboard. But it was not close. I don't think anybody predicted USC only winning 7 or 8 games this season. It's crazy. It really is crazy.
The biggest thing with USC was all they did was surrounded Caleb Williams with a lot of offensive talent because they had a plethora of offensive talent.
Oh my gosh, the weapons are insane.
I mean, like, it's take your pick with their offensive weapons. But their defense, they did recruit well with their defense.
Yes.
I mean, they got Bear, I think Bear Williams is my name.
Yep.
They have him, but when you look at the defense outside of him, who's there?
Man, it is crazy. So last year, USC won this game 48-45. So your shootout, last year would be correct, but that UCLA team had Dorian Thompson-Robinson, and that was an awesome game last year.
Yeah, sure.
In this game, I'm going to say it's USC 38 points, and that's a lot against this UCLA defense. This UCLA defense is good, but I think this USC offense is better. So I think they're going to put up 38 points, but I believe this UCLA offense is bad, but against this USC defense is horrible.
They're good.
So they're going to put up 27 points. So it's going to be 38-27 USC.
Yeah, but their offensive score is going to be offset by their USC defense.
Because UCLA's offense scoring 27 is a good day for them.
Oh, yeah,
And,
for sure.
oh, man. And then on the other side, USC scoring 38 is not really a good day. So I got to put it somewhere in the middle right there.
Yeah.
Let's
I mean,
talk
because
about,
Caleb Williams, he's
yep.
going to do what he do, but it's always been up to the defense because honestly, if you give Caleb Williams UCLA's defense, they're very well in figure.
Yep.
Or maybe
That's,
one loss. That's my best one.
that's true, man. Oregon is good this year. Good gosh. Let's talk about their arch rival, game of the week in college football, in my opinion. Number 5, Washington travels to number 11, Oregon State for a 6:30 kickoff, a night game. It's supposed to be windy. It's supposed to be 40 degrees. And Oregon State is picked by 2.5 points.
I'm telling you this, and the better they got that, or the people in Vegas, they got that line right. Oregon State is going to win this game because this is their type of game.
You're right. You're right. I
And on
agree
top
with
of
you.
that, Washington, their run game is not that great. They rely heavily on Penny Jr. and his arm, and BZA doing his thing on the outside as receiver. But if you look at games where it has began to start raining with Washington, Penny Jr. his percentage is terrible. But that's with any quarterback. But he's not as effective in any inclement weather. He doesn't do well. So I really do think Oregon State gets the upset because they have an offense that can weather inclement weather. And Daniel Martinez, I mean, he's no slouch around.
Yep. Like you said, I do agree with you. I think Oregon State does pull this upset off. This will shake the whole college football world right here. Oregon State 34-30 in this ball game. The rainy weather does help Oregon State so much because they do have the better run game and they're
Yep.
used to playing in the rain. But Washington is too because man, it just rains in the northwest. It really does. It just rains so much up there. But Damian Martinez is the better back, and they do have the better run game. But Dylan Johnson, the Mississippi State transfer, has been really good for Washington. He ran
Yeah,
all over that USC defense. He had a good game against Utah last week. But
I forgot about him. He is actually a good runner. Don't get me
he,
wrong. Yeah, Washington does have a good running game, but I do think it's a bit overrated in that sense because I mean I can have a good running game against Colorado.
yeah, heck no. But Oregon State does have the better run defense, in my opinion. They have the better defense overall. The Washington defense isn't great, but it's good
Mm-hmm.
enough for that offense to come in and save them, really.
Yeah, and I mean Oregon State they play so under control. Like if you look at all the games, even in their losses, they never look that right in any game. And I think this big time game won't be too. It won't be too much. The stage won't be too big. And
Okay.
I think DJ he shows that he can get it done on any level.
I got you. Let's talk about DJ for a second. 2,254 yards, 20 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, and Clemson gave up on that man.
That man is going. He's not on the radar this whole season. Nobody's really talking about him. He is in Oregon State. He's keeping quiet. He's not in the media, and he's really one of the top quarterbacks in college football.
You're right. These next two
And he,
weeks mean so much for Oregon State. They mean
and
so much for them.
honestly, that most means to be fired for what he did.
Oh, now they ain't gonna fire him. The man brought 2
But
national titles to them.
he's living off the Son Watson and Hunter Renfro right now. What he's living off of. And Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence, yep.
DJ could have very well. I guarantee if DJ was on that team right now and he actually believed in them, they would be 6-4
Yeah,
or 6-3,
I agree
one
with
of
you.
the two,
Yeah, 6-4. Yep, I
six
agree
and
with you.
four.
So Carter, Oregon State is seeking 9 regular season wins in back-to-back seasons and 10 regular season wins. Now, this 10 regular season wins would have to mean they beat Washington and Oregon in back-to-back weeks. Probably the toughest 2 games you can imagine on a schedule this year for any team. But if they do it, It'd be their first 10 regular season win season for the first time since 2000. It's 23 years ago.
I'm gonna tell you what. Nothing makes me more nervous than an Oregon versus Oregon State game.
They won last year, and y'all were up big. Oregon was up big.
Yeah, we always it's those games like that, Oregon State game or Utah. We we come up short in games that we don't need to come up short in.
It's that rivalry game. Yep.
It's very annoying that those are the type of games as an Oregon fan. I hate to watch. I just want to look at the score after the game's over with. It's too much. Like 2019, this is our track record against Oregon State. 2019, we win 24-10. 2020, we lose 38-41. 2021, we win 38-29. 2022, we lost 34-38. So I guess this year is actually going to win.
You're right. You're right. It's every other year for y'all. So Carter,
My God.
Washington's coming off a really good win against Utah, where that defense really, really showed me something in that second half. And I know the Washington defense isn't great, but they did not let that Utah offense score again whenever they put up 28 in the first half. So that really impressed me. If Washington wins out, obviously they're 100% in the college football playoff. If they go 13-0, they're 100% in. They would be in the college football playoff for the first time since 2016. You remember that team with Jake Browning? Let me show you some other players that were on that 2016 Washington team. But you remember that team, right?
Yeah, I do.
So John Ross is on that team. Vita Vea was on that team. And guess who else is on that team? I had no idea this guy was on that team. Buda Baker.
Buda Baker was on that Washington team.
I had no idea he was on that team.
You know, man, he was balling when Tom Brady was there at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Then he going crap.
I know it. That's the only place I ever remember him from is Tampa Bay and Tom Brady. But John Ross, I remember how fast that kid was at Cincinnati.
That man was so fast.
Gosh, he was so fast. Another fun fact, Carter. Jonathan Smith, he's Oregon State's head coach now. I don't know how long he's been there, but I know he has these past 2 years. He was, you won't believe this, 2016 Washington, he was their offensive coordinator. How crazy is that? So this is a huge game for him. For him and this program.
Oh yeah, for sure. That makes it even better. Washington definitely win this game.
Washington is?
I mean Oregon State.
Yeah, I think Oregon State really does. I think this is one of the most exciting games left on the regular season schedule, in my opinion.
Oh,
this
yeah,
is up there.
Sure.
This is up there. Well, I was about to say something else. I've been doing that a lot tonight. So, as far as Oregon State, with the Pac-12 moving and just disbanding, Oregon State is kind of up in the air. They're one of the independent schools right now. So I don't really know what they do, and that kind of scares me. This is a top 10 team, in my opinion. I know they're number 11 right now, but they are a top 10 team, in my opinion. And it kind of scares me where they go for the future, but we'll just have to see that on another day.
Yeah. Oregon State, I do feel like if they beat Washington, the committee at least has to put them.
Yep, they'll have to jump. That makes that Oregon State game at least top 8 game. So, man, it's
Game day have to go to that
has
game.
to go there. Has to go there. I don't even know the games next week really. But let's move on. Let's go to SEC. We don't have to spend much time on this game. I don't think this game is going to be particularly close, but I had to mention it because most years it would be close, but Missouri's a different animal this year. Florida 5-5 at number 9 Missouri. Florida's 5-5. They need a win in one of the last 2 games. And it's either Missouri or Florida State. So 2 top 10 teams. One of them they got to beat to go to a bowl game. Okay. I have that. I'll ask you one more question before we end this podcast later on. But that's a big game in one of those questions. So Missouri's picked by 11.5 points in this game. It is a night game at Mizzou. They have not had a night game since week 2. Where they beat Middle Tennessee State 23-19, and where I thought totally different Missouri back then.
Yeah. Cody Strader.
Yep.
Versus Florida.
Yep.
Cody Strader looks like Bo Jackson back there.
Oh man, he's gonna have a day. I think he's gonna have another day. Probably not 200 rushing and 100 receiving, but I think he'll have a day.
No, he may not have 100 receiving, but I'm going to give him 150 and two tutties.
That's a hell of a day. So Carter, Drinkowitz is 1-2 against Florida since becoming Missouri's head coach in 2020. Billy Napier won this matchup 24-17 last year. Billy Napier has to get one of these wins. They have to go to a bowl game. Like his job's not on the line this year, in my opinion, because they have
No.
a supposedly amazing recruiting class coming in for
Mm-hmm.
2024. But
Mm-hmm.
man, not going to a bowl game when you were 5-2 and finishing 5-7, that's a rough look for Napier.
Oh yeah, that's terrible. But the thing of it is, his crutch is that his quarterback is Merch.
Yep, Mertz has been phenomenal.
Well,
He's been a lot better than I expected. I'll say that. 2,700 yards, 18 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He's not the problem. He's not the problem.
now that is kind of glaring to me. He only has two interceptions on the season.
Yep, 2 interceptions. He has not been the problem.
Two interceptions. I guess the defense is the problem because it's not. He's not turning it over
Mm-mm.
at all, really. So
I think it is the defense. I mean, you saw the day Jaden Daniels had on him Saturday. You saw the day KJ Jefferson in Arkansas had on him when Arkansas was switching offensive coordinators. Man, you saw
yeah,
the day Georgia beat them 43-20, and you also saw the day that South Carolina put up 39 points and Florida barely escaped out of there. So it's that defense. That defense has been horrible.
yeah, we were ready to put Arkansas in bowl contention.
I know I was. Golly, come on, they sniffing a bowl now.
That boy,
God.
that boy, that boy Auburn said, "Hold my beer."
God, they beat. Oh man, I can't talk about Arkansas anymore on this podcast. They beat the hell out of us, Carter. Good gosh. So for this
I
game,
know.
also I want to talk about Florida's running back room because it has been really good. That's the thing. Florida's offense has been really good this season. Trevor Etienne, Montrell Johnson combined for 1,200 yards and 11 touchdowns. And you could argue that Etienne's not getting the amount of touches he should be getting. I mean,
No,
his
not at all.
brother goes on Twitter every week to say, "Give the ball to
Trevor
Trevor."
Trevor Etienne is really what they call a game, and Billy Napier's not.
I don't think he is either. Pearsall, 876 yards, 4 touchdowns. Pearsall is a dude. He really is.
Um, really fearful. That man, he's that guy. He
Yep.
is that guy. I hope my Niners draft him.
You don't need any more weapons. You don't need any more weapons. So with all that being said about how good this offense is, Carter, I think Missouri gets it done. 31-17. It's a night game at home. That place is going to be ecstatic. 31 to
Oh,
17, Missouri.
I probably may go a little bit higher. I may go 45, 60.
Okay. So you got a blowout. I mean, I kind of do too
Yep.
in a sense.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Going back to that Washington Oregon State game, what was your final score on that, Carter?
Washington, Oregon State. I got Oregon State winning 21-14 and a pretty much kind of defensive game actually.
Okay.
Because I think Michael Penix Jr. may have one of his most inefficient games this week. I don't think, and if it's not inefficient, I think his numbers won't be, as, video game-ish
Yeah,
as it has been.
I got you.
But I do think Oregon State.
Okay, so you got a defensive battle. I got it 34-30 Oregon State. I think it'll be a little high scoring, but when it comes down to it, it'll be a defensive battle.
Oh yeah, for sure.
All right, last game we're going to predict, and then I got a few questions for you, not too many at all. Number 7, Texas, 9-1 Texas at Iowa State, 6-4. Iowa State somehow still in Big 12 championship dreams and hopes and everything, but they need a lot to happen. So I don't expect them to be in there at all. Texas is picked by 7.5 points, and this is a night game as well. If Texas wins out, they are most likely in the college football playoff, but, I mean, you never know. We talked about it earlier. They could be one of the teams that don't control their own destiny. If Texas wins one of the next two, they are 100% in the Big 12 championship. So
Right.
I know most Texas fans want more than that, but I mean, you made it to the Big 12 championship about 90% right now.
Oh yeah. I do think that Texas wins this game. I think the Ewers kind of have a controlling uh, performance, and uh, he maybe right at 300 yards, if not more passing. Um, I think I think they really blow out Iowa State
Okay.
because if you really look at what Texas has been doing, they haven't really had just a really good game. Like when they put it all together, since
You're right. You're right. I 100% agree with that. And that's the reason why I think if Texas would have been dominant even after the Oklahoma loss, even they
yeah,
would have blown out Kansas State, where I know they were up 20 in that game. They blew out Houston, where they were up 21 in that game, and Houston came back. If they would have blew out last week TCU, where they were up 20 in that game, if they
yeah,
just stayed those scores and then let them back into that game, the committee would be totally different on Texas. But
yeah.
because it comes
See,
down to it, it's different for them.
they can't maintain any of their wins. It's like, oh, well, they won, but it wasn't just a big win for them. And you know, like those the top teams in the college football playoffs that had those wins, like Georgia versus Ole Miss, where they blow them out,
Yep.
or the Washington wins, or Florida State. I mean, Florida State's one of those teams they don't have really big wins either. Uh, so it, Texas is one of those teams like oh, they're good, but
I know it. I know it. And that's why Texas fans should be scared these next 3 weeks. But I mean, if they do the exact thing we're talking about, if they blow out a good Iowa State team in a really bad spot for Texas, if they blow them out, and if they blow out Texas Tech next week, they get to the Big 12 championship, they blow out Oklahoma State, there's probably no question they're in. But
yeah, for sure.
but I mean,
But
if
at the same
they,
time,
yeah.
they could, and still do they still get in? I mean,
I mean, it's still tough. It's still on the edge for them, and
because I think if the committee had to choose Bama or Texas, because I think that's what it's going to come down to. I think it's going to come down to who is it, Bama or Texas? Well, Bama beat Georgia, but Texas beat Alabama. But
I know it.
Bama
I
beat
know it.
Georgia.
I know it. It's tough, man. It's tough. I don't know how they're going to do that. And I
Yeah,
understand both sides. I really do. As a Texas fan, I would be mad as hell if they chose
oh
Alabama
yeah,
over us,
for
knowing
sure.
that we went into Tuscaloosa and beat them by 2 possessions. That would
Yeah,
kill me. But I understand Alabama beat Georgia, the best team in the past 3 years,
yeah.
and it's
Because
rough.
think of these. I mean, I get Georgia is undefeated and stuff like that, but they have weaknesses, and
They do.
I think Saban could pull it off,
I think
and
so
that would
too.
be another signature Saban win for sure.
Yep. As much as I would love to be on the college football playoff committee for the rest of my life, if that was my job, that would be an awesome job. I would hate to have to choose that fourth spot between Alabama and Texas. I would
Oh
hate
yeah, for sure,
that.
for sure.
That would be tough. Now, back to this Texas Iowa State game. Ewers is back. That is awesome for Texas. They're coming off a TCU win where it was closer than it should have been. Jonathan Brooks, their star running back, is out for the year with the ACL injury. CJ Baxter will take up a majority of the running back reps. With a win, Carter, Texas would be seeking its first 10-win season since 2009 when they went 13-0 with Colt McCoy and lost to Mark Ingram in Alabama in the national championship.
Oh, Colt McCoy.
Oh, Colt McCoy.
That was back when those quarterbacks were going to the NFL. Like you had Colt McCoy, AJ,
McCarron.
what was AJ McCarron.
Yep.
Those quarterbacks were very good in college, but with the NFL, you never heard them again.
Yes. Yeah, you're right.
I mean, for Texas to do something like that, and it's been that long, it may feel like it's
Been,
been that
it's been that long. That's why
long.
Texas is back. Like the slogan Texas is back means that much because it's been that long for them.
But I guess Texas hadn't had an elite quarterback play in that long too.
I mean, you got to think Sam Ellinger was, I mean, you could say he's pretty good. I don't know about elite. In that span, what are some more? Um,
I mean, exactly. With
I'm
Sam
blanking.
Ellinger.
I'm blanking.
And
Seriously.
he was really modern day Tim Tebow, to be honest.
I mean, yeah, in a way, play styles and stuff.
Yeah, but obviously he didn't have success. Tim Tebow did it.
Yeah,
As far as like play style, then in NFL, I guarantee you we can't tell what teams he's on right now. Actually, I can't name what team he is on.
Who is it?
He's with the Colts.
Okay. Who is the
Like,
coach quarterback right now?
it was Anthony Richardson.
I knew he got hurt. Yeah. I don't know their second stringer. Is it what's his name? Is Washington State guy? It's not it's not
It's Sam Ellinger right now.
okay. I thought
Oh, it was Gardner Minshew there.
that's who I thought it was. Yep. The
So
Gardner
Sam
Minshew
Ellinger,
has a job.
he is a third string quarterback for a Colts.
Golly.
That's very, very Tim Tebow-esque.
You can get into broadcasting next, probably.
Oh yeah.
So Carter, Iowa State beat BYU 45-13 last week. So coming off a really good game. This is a huge spot for Iowa State. Iowa State has won 3 of the last 4 against Texas. 3 of the last 4. And guess what? They're going to win 4 of the last 5. Iowa State wins 30-27 in overtime. I have them upsetting Texas. Yep, I think that spot's going to be tough. 7 o'clock night game in Ames, Iowa. Texas is going to fall to Iowa State. Rocco Beck's going to put the whoop ass on Quinn Ewers.
You know, I want to agree with you. Really do. Because I think Quinn Ewers, I think he's overrated.
I'm beginning to think that. I know he's been injured, but man,
Like,
I
I'm
got to
starting
see
to see
him.
why Ohio State let him go.
Oh man. Not for when he was last year, so I guess they said Stroud, so I can't blame him too much for that.
You know, those NFL testers were so wrong about Stroud. They called that man a dummy. He's an MVP.
He's an MVP candidate. Oh my gosh. He has been ridiculous.
That's why you don't test football players.
All right, Carter. So you have Texas winning this ball game.
Yeah, I got Texas winning. I got them winning 14.
Okay. So close for you as well.
Yeah.
Okay. I think so too. So I have a couple upsets this week. I'm like you this week, man. I got Miami over Louisville. I have Clemson over North Carolina. That's if you want to call that an upset, it's number 20 versus Clemson, and Clemson's picked to win that game. Oregon State over Washington, and then Iowa State over Texas. So yeah, I got a few upsets on my board. And you had the biggest one of them all, Tennessee over Georgia. That would shake up everything, Carter. Now Georgia would probably still get in if they beat Alabama in the SEC championship, but that would shake everything in.
Two loss
Georgia. Wow. 11-2 Georgia. Okay.
A bad loss to Tennessee and a SEC championship loss.
Man, their season just crumbles the last 3 weeks.
Yep.
Wow. They give him $20 million. Okay, Carter. Last question, and we'll get out of here, man. It's late. You got work tomorrow.
Heck yeah.
Let's rank. I don't know if you've done this already. Let's rank the 5 games we are most excited for the last 2 weeks of the regular season. You can also include a conference championship if you're pretty confident those 2 teams will be there. But as of right now, I think there's only one solidified, and that's Alabama and Georgia. I've already said mine to Jace, so I'll give you mine just so you can have something to go off of. Number 1 for me is Alabama versus Georgia. I'm so excited for that game, and I think Alabama really could do it. Number 2, Michigan versus Ohio State. I think Jace had Oregon versus Washington here, but they're not 100% solidified, so I didn't include them, but they most likely will be there. Number 3 for me is Oregon State versus Washington this weekend. Cannot wait for this game. We just talked about it. 4, Oregon State versus Oregon. If Oregon State beats Washington this weekend, that game next week is going to decide the Pac-12 championship contender, like who goes. And then number 5, kind of an oddball. It's Florida State versus Florida. But Florida State travels to the Swamp. And I think it'll be a big test for Jordan Travis and Mike Norvell.
For sure. I'm gonna go with obviously Bama Georgia. That's always a big game, no matter
Yep.
what time of year it is. Um, I'll go Oregon State versus Oregon
Okay.
because it's a rivalry game. As you can tell, I mean, it's a back and forth rivalry every year.
Yep.
Um, then I'll go Oregon State again versus Washington. That's gonna be a really good game.
Yep.
Um, and I'll go Michigan versus Ohio State because I think that's going to be the first test for Michigan. I mean, gee,
Okay.
we thought the test last week was Penn State, but actually not.
Didn't even
So
show up.
yeah, no, that was terrible. And I have to go Florida State, Florida because of the rivalry, the in-state rivalry.
Okay.
Florida State actually get a little taste of the SEC, and Florida's defense actually shows up.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I think Florida State actually will win that game.
Okay.
Probably will actually prepare them better for the college football playoffs because Florida's actually been through the ringer. See,
They absolutely have.
so yeah, that's my five.
What would make that game even better is if Florida loses to Missouri this weekend, and that's the only game they have left to make it to a bowl game. And I think they would be desperate. I think that fan base would be there cheering them on, especially for a top. I mean, it's a top 4 team coming into Florida, so I think it
Yeah,
would be. I think it would be a great environment there. So Jay
for
said
sure.
number 5. He had Alabama and Auburn. Alabama's going to Jordan Hare, so that stadium will be rocking for that game, and it's a rivalry game. So we've seen Alabama struggle on the road. I know they just beat the hell out of Kentucky last week, but they we have seen them struggle. So I mean, I understand him picking that game, but I didn't. I mean, Carter, they beat the hell out of Kentucky.
Man, Jalen Milrow, that boy is looking like Barry Sanders. Boy.
Carter, there was a stat in that Alabama Kentucky game. Alabama was up 21-0 when Kentucky snapped its 5th play of the ball game on offense. Devin Leary had 5 whole snaps before he was down 3 possessions.
Oh,
Oh man. Oh man.
I told you Nick Saban's gonna be at home for less than all.
Yeah, he pretty much was. He could have went home at halftime. He
Oh
could have.
yeah.
So, Carter, I appreciate you staying up late with me, man. I know you got work tomorrow. Jace had to leave about 20, 30 minutes ago because he had work tomorrow. So, I appreciate y'all for watching. Tune in to the next one after hopefully a wild Week 12 recap. But appreciate y'all for watching.
All right,
See you, buddy.
man. With all
I